All right, joining us now, Sidney Powell. Sidney is a very noted author, a legal scholar, and been on our show many times, and she's traveling around the U.S. today. Sidney, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us on such short notice.
Thank you, John, for having me. Always a pleasure.
So, Sidney, you know, you've written the book, basically, on the abuses that go on in the Justice Department. Nobody takes a backseat to you in the United States on this particular topic. So Trump, he has enough. He just had enough of the whole thing. And he fires James Comey on Tuesday night. And by the way, everybody's criticizing the way he fired him. I love the way he fired him. He was like making a speech in Los Angeles. They had to stop his speech. I mean, I'm sorry. That did make me laugh. Okay, now, what do you think of this whole thing, Sidney?
Well, the only thing that surprised me about it was that Trump didn't do it sooner.
Right.
I think the reason he didn't do it sooner was both to give Comey a chance, which was fair, and because he had a lot of other irons in the fire when he first became president. So that's not all that big a surprise, but I am surprised Comey lasted as long as he did. I have an article out in the New York Observer from last year saying that Comey and Loretta Lynch both should have been impeached for the way they whitewashed Hillary's crimes. And remember, the Democrats were calling for Comey's head long ago, too, for the way he treated Hillary. Now Trump goes and fires him for the way he treated Hillary, and they're all over Trump for doing that. The only thing they're really mad about is that it wasn't Hillary that fired him.
Well, what's amazing, too, is Maxine Waters even said that, Sidney. She said, you know what, if Hillary fired him, it would have been fine. What's the difference?
Right. Maxine Waters can't find her head with both hands.
It's so ridiculous. All right, so he had every legal right to fire him. What about the timing and the optics and everything else that's going on now?
Well, it sounds like there should have been a better, a larger huddle in the White House when it was done to make sure that everybody knew what was going on and people were lined up to speak about it. But other than that, I think, Trump hit what I call refrigerator rule number 6, enough is enough. With Comey's testimony before Congress last year, there's been more than enough reason to fire him. You don't have to go far back in the headlines to remember all the rank-and-file FBI agents being outraged by his conduct and the morale being in the pits in the FBI because of Comey, and the whole speech he made after Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, wherein he actually indicted Hillary, but then basically said she didn't have the requisite level of intent, which is a complete misreading of the statute. I mean, no matter how you look at it from either side, Comey totally mishandled the Hillary email debacle. Well, there's just no good angle for it.
Was he not politicizing the FBI, right? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. In my judgment, remember when he did that ridiculous 55-minute press conference when he wrapped up the Clinton email investigation? And he was...
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And all in one...
It sounded through the whole thing like a scathing indictment of Hillary, and then he comes down to the end and says, oh, well, she didn't have the requisite intent, so we're not recommending that she be indicted.
Yeah, so basically...
The whole thing was ridiculous.
I mean, basically...
There should have been an investigation of Hillary from the minute they found out she had a secret server in her house that she was running all her email through, and they didn't do that.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, we're with Sidney Powell. She's the author of the book License to Lie, one of the best books. You got to read this, License to Lie. And if you want to get it, you can get it on Amazon or just go to her website, License to Lie. I had a chance to read that book, and I was reading it during the Bob McDonnell investigation. And, man, so many things you said in there, Sidney, are so true about if the Justice Department wants to go after you, they're going to get whatever they need to because they have unlimited resources and time that no one else has, right?
That's right, and access to subpoenas and grand juries and witnesses and the whole process of intimidation to get people to say whatever they want under threat of indictment or long prison sentences.
Exactly.
It's outrageous.
All right, so where do we go from here? Now, I mean, both of us agree that Comey getting fired was the right thing to do, right?
Yes.
And we also agree that the only problem we have with the timing is that it should have been done January 23, right, instead of the middle of May, right? And good riddance to the guy. What do we do now? What happens now?
Well, now they start a process of interviewing and selecting, well, first an interim director. and then a permanent director. I wouldn't think it'd take very long to select an interim director. There are a number of qualified people to do that, and the same with a permanent director. I would expect that to be done within the next few months. And hopefully it will be someone of unimpeachable character that will follow the law and the rule of law without regard to whose name is in the investigation.
What about this investigation of Trump and Russia collusion? 11 months, no evidence, right? They said this investigation started in July. It's now the middle of May, 10 and a half months, no evidence of any kind. And allegedly, this is the other thing, allegedly, Comey went to the Justice Department and asked for more money, allegedly. Now, the Trump administration says that that's a complete lie, fake news, and completely false. But other people are saying, quote, unnamed sources are saying that he did that. Why would the Justice Department give this guy more money for an investigation that after 10 and a half months has not proved to find any fact leading to any level of collusion whatsoever?
I don't know, and I don't know why he would need more resources to do it in the first place. I mean, the FBI has significant resources, and the whole Russia thing has been mishandled from the get-go too.
How so?
They just can't seem to get it right. Well, the accusations of people talking with Russian spies, you don't know. I mean, for all I know, you're a Russian spy, and we're talking this morning. Mm-hmm. And the eavesdropping or whatever on Trump Tower, if they did it right, no one would ever know it. So there are all kinds of things that just don't make any sense. But you're right. They've had 10 and a half months to produce any evidence of wrongdoing, and nobody's seen anything yet.
It's unbelievable.
The investigation will continue. I mean, the administration has said they want whatever investigations were going on 3 days ago are still going on now and will continue to go on until they're concluded. It would be nice to get some of them resolved one way or the other, just because unlimited investigations don't do any good. But they will continue until whoever is on the case is satisfied that they've run down whatever they need to run down, I hope, and then publicly produce the results.
Do you recommend that Congress install and the president installs a special prosecutor for this?
I had suggested a long time ago that there be one for the Hillary Clinton email situation. That should have happened ages ago. As far as the Russia thing is, I really don't know enough about that at this point to comment. I mean, I would think the FBI could do that on its own and do it adequately under an impartial director. But if not, then, yeah, a special prosecutor should be named.
Don't you think that before we do that, we should let the Senate Intel Commission play out? I mean, the chairman and the vice chairman, Senator Richard Burr of North Carolina, and the vice chair, Senator Mark Warner from Virginia, both of them have said this is nonpartisan. They're doing it the right way. They're handing out subpoenas now. Shouldn't we wait to see what they come up with before we go down that road?
Oh, definitely. There's no use starting up yet another investigation when there are still ongoing investigations in Congress and the FBI.
All right, Sidney, I've got a couple more minutes. We're with Sidney Powell. She's the author of The License to Lie. Check it out. Go on Amazon. You can also read Sidney in The Observer. Go to observer.com, and Sidney writes there. And you can follow her on Twitter as well, like I do. Sidney, let's get to the Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein, I think his name is, right? Rosenstein.
Yes.
Who wrote the letter. This is annoying me today, and just clear it up for me, or maybe you can straighten this out for us, but it's been bothering me. So he gets confirmed as the Deputy Attorney General, and he writes a letter that he signs. Right? And in where I come from, if you sign something and put your name on it, you believe in it. Otherwise, you wouldn't sign it. That's where I come from.
Stand behind it. Yes, that's where I come from.
Yeah, now, I mean, I'm from New Jersey, so maybe it's different in the South. You sign something, you shake somebody, it's a done deal, right? So the
Yeah,
guy
from the
does a
South.
letter and he signs it. And he gives it to his boss, Jeff Sessions, who then does his letter, and they deliver it to President Trump as a president of the free world. And then in Comey's firing, one of the things that the administration says is that Trump took his letter that Rosenstein wrote and signed and sent to the President of the United States very seriously. And that was one of the big reasons why he decided on that day, Tuesday, to hit the switch and pull the trigger. Now, Rosenstein is whining, threatening to resign because the administration used his letter as a reason for the firing, and he is saying that decision was made more than a week ago. What are they talking about? Did the guy sign the letter or not?
As far as I know, he signed the letter, and I don't know whether the notion that he was threatening to resign or is upset about it is fake news or not, but it certainly doesn't make any sense. I mean, if I tell all my clients that I take full responsibility for every brief on file, for every word on anything that I sign. And as far as I'm concerned, it can be made public. So I don't understand what's going on there at all.
Well, I think what he's saying, is the letter was utilized by the administration communications team as the reason that Trump decided to fire Comey at this particular time, Tuesday, May the 9th at 5:30 p.m. Rosenstein
well, it certainly makes sense that President Trump would wait until there was the Deputy Attorney General in place who oversees the FBI and get his input on whether the director should remain in place or not.
Right. So
I think that's the only thing about the timing, and wanted his opinion on that before he made a decision, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the responsible way to go. I mean, that certainly explains the delay in firing Comey, but he had grounds to fire him from the get-go.
Right. So whether or not the decision was made 2 weeks ago, they pulled the trigger when they got the letter from the guy who heads the department that Comey reports to. So why is this guy whining? This is unbelievable. I tell you what. You know what? If you can't take the heat,
maybe he's not whining. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, has he publicly said?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just seeing some news reports this morning, but
attributed to alleged and sources saying, but he certainly hasn't come out. He certainly hasn't come out and disputed. Like if that was me and I didn't say that, let's say this whole thing was attributed to me. I was the Deputy Attorney General, and I pick up the New York Times and I read that sources are saying that I'm unhappy and I'm going to resign because my name was utilized by the White House communications team as the reason that Trump acted on that particular day, and that was not true, and I was not mad. I would be on the phone saying, what the hell are you guys talking about? Well, he hasn't said that. So when somebody doesn't dispute fake news, then you got to figure that they're all right with it. Right?
Yes, unless they're trying to work on a coordinated response and, do one big thing that settles it.
Right. So you might wait a day. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Sidney. Always good to have you. Always good to get your insight. Thank you for joining us. More information, License to Lie, her bestseller book. You want to go check it out. Go to Amazon or any place else. Licensed to Lie, Exposing Corruption in the Department of Justice. Sidney, always good to have you on. Thank you so much.